Hey, Tony Colombo here with Tim Jones for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway, the #1 home selling team in the St. Louis area, and I can say that from firsthand experience. My wife and I were blown away from the results that we saw from working with Rodney and Jen, from selling our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible to finding our family's perfect new home. They over-delivered every step of the way, and right now, it's still very much a seller's market. So, Tim, for folks that have been thinking about selling their home, it's a perfect time to call the Wallners.
That's right, Tony. And don't forget, they're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois, so no matter where you are in the metro area, you can put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. The Wallners' experience and work ethic, second to none. And of course, the numbers speak for themselves. The Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. Right now, they're working with so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner home selling team.
Hey, it's Monday, and that means great pizza at a great price. All 3 Steph's Pizza locations make Monday great again with a 16-inch large pizza for just the price of a small. You heard right, a large Steph's Pizza, however you would like it, for the price of a small. All 3 St. Charles County locations of Steph's Pizza are making Mondays great again, and they have a different special every night of the week. Check it out at stephspizza.com.
This hour of the Allman Report brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Oh, give me land, lots of land under starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Just turn me loose, let me straddle my own saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise. I want to ride to the ridge where the west commences. Gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. I can't look at hobbles and I can't stand fences. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and happy Monday to all of you and yours. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here, Ashton over there, and, man, it was not a good weekend to be a caveman terrorist. You know what I'm saying? Listen, back in the day, their ancestors were killed by pterodactyls, so we just changed their method of death. That's just how it all goes. You know, when you're that prehistoric, you're going to wind up in the crosshairs. That prehistoric and violent, you're going to wind up in the crosshairs of the entire world, to tell you the truth. Amazingly, now we have almost like a version of NATO, but it's all the Arabic Gulf states. So that's pretty much of a win. And let me tell you something. I know that there were some people who were waking up on Saturday morning trying to figure out, like, how they were going to figure this out. Like, the usual suspects among us got out their fainting couches and put on their powdered wigs and acted like this was unconstitutional. But we'll settle that for you pretty quickly during this show. And also, don't forget, Jim Carafano going to be joining us at 1 o'clock. As he is wont to do after an event like this. But no, this was, I realize there were some people, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think. Is this war? Is this, but here's how it was so easy for me. If Jane Fonda is against it, I'm for it. If Ilhan Omar is against it, I'm for it. If Adam Schiff is against it, I'm for it. If CBS News is against it, I'm for it. In fact, I am for the people who are right most of the time as opposed to the people who are wrong most of the time. So this was really super easy for me because those people, even in choosing who they saddle up with and side with, have been wrong pretty much all of the time. The commander-in-chief has been right pretty much all of the time. So that's where I just kind of sit back and trust it. Sit back and let it play out. Figure it all out. But all of these pearl-clutching, well, some of them are Republicans because this is where they all talk about how they're so even-handed about this. And let's put the shoe on the other foot. What if this was what? Well, actually, you know what? All I have to do is tell you if you want to go ahead and do whatever test you want to do in terms of how you feel about this. I mean, you could go back in time and ask Nancy Pelosi when Barack Obama was bombing Libya.
So, Madam Speaker, Madam Leader, you're saying that the president did not need authorization initially and still does not need any authorization from Congress on Libya?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Nancy. Just go back in time. It's through the wonder of videotape that we get answers like this. I mean, we could also go back in time if we want to, and we could actually see what Sam Alito said when he was asked by none other than Joe Biden about what's going on.
The president has the authority to invade Iran tomorrow without getting permission from the people, from the United States Congress, absent him being able to show there's an immediate threat to our national security.
Well, that's a question that I don't think is settled by the whole issue of the extent of the president's authority to authorize the use of military force.
Yeah. So let's put it this way. Sam Alito said it's not settled. So why are you and me going to sit back and let CBS News settle it, or Ilhan Omar settle it, or any of these traitors to the United States of America who hate America? So again, I'm not going to side with people who hate America. I'm also not going to take their interpretations of the Constitution either.
Congressional approval has been the subject of a lot of debate. The Constitution divides the powers relating to making war between the president and the Congress. It gives Congress the power to declare war, and obviously that means something. It gives Congress the power of the purse, and obviously military operations can't be carried out for any length of time without congressional appropriations. Congress is given the power to raise and support an army, to maintain a navy, to make the rules for governing the land and the naval forces. The president has the power of the commander-in-chief. And I think there's been general agreement, and the prize cases support the authority of the president to take military action on his own in the case of an emergency when there is not time for Congress to react.
Do you?
Yeah. I guess you could say, well, this wasn't an emergency. It's like, how the hell do you know? How does Ilhan Omar know it wasn't an emergency? How does CBS News know? How does your idiot friend on Facebook know? They don't. And so this is a real easy call. You trust the people who have been right most of the time, and you don't trust the people who have been wrong most of the time. It's really easy. This was not, and I didn't have to do any noodling over this one, people. That's all there is to it. The only thing I'm trying to figure out, a couple things. Is Ahmadinejad dead or is he alive? Because there's some discussion about whether or not he's dead or alive. You know, the members-only jacket guy. Remember him back in the day? He led Iran up until about 2013. But one thing you might not know is that if you ask a former hostage like Rocky Sickman about Ahmadinejad, Rocky will tell you, and he will tell us this week, because I'll have him on the air. Rocky will tell you that Ahmadinejad was the most vicious guard of the hostages in 1979. Ahmadinejad was ruthless, and just like his other fellow cavemen, prehistoric terrorists, that's how he was. That's who he was. And, of course, you saw all the dancing in the streets, and you saw, all the people. And then of course, you saw all the white liberals out there with their prefab, no war in Iran signs and everything else. Listen, this is really easy for Americans to figure out, most of us. If they care. And by the way, if you're a gas station and you raised your gallon of gas prices 30%, you are evil. I'm sorry, not 30%, but 30 cents, which is what you did. And you have zero reason to do it. I don't care what you say about the futures. Is there a traffic jam at the Strait of Hormuz right now? Yeah, a little bit, but not for long. The gas you have in the tanks below the ground is still the price you paid for it originally. And the individuals who are raising gas prices, which is what they did within 24 hours, 30 cents a gallon, you should be ashamed of yourself. And I don't want to hear any excuses from these. Well, we don't make hardly any. I know. I've been there, done this before. I know what's going on. That's the thing that bothers me the most about all this, is that the gas prices automatically went up because these people are absolutely gougers and profiting off of a world event, and shouldn't be. So that's what's going on there. And you're as bad as Ilhan Omar if you're raising your gas prices 30 cents a gallon because of nothing, because of what you think might happen down the line. It's not how it works. I get it with the futures market, whatever. Anyway, I was fascinated, though, by the whole thing about how they found him, how they found Khomeini, and how they pulled this off. And there's some videotapes out there on the internet that I found fascinating in explaining just how this happened. Because, as much as you have, what happened, the intrigue is super fascinating.
Ayatollah Ali Khamenei ended at 3:14 a.m. on February 28th. The 86-year-old symbol of Iranian resistance was neutralized, not by age, but by a lethal U.S.-Israeli synchronization. The operation began with Israeli Unit 8200 injecting deep packet malware into the IRGC's Basir fiber network. Simultaneously, U.S. KH-11 satellites utilized thermal telemetry to lock a specific heat signature within a 15-meter deep red zone bunker at Tehran's Beit Rabari compound. To ensure a clean entry, a joint cyber strike paralyzed Iran's S-300 PMU-2 batteries and indigenous Bavar 373 radars.
Yeah. So it was about that time that the cavemen were now realizing that my phone isn't working. My phone isn't working properly. Whatever they do. It's like, oh, my phone isn't working properly. Hey, the Flintstones just turned off on our TV. What's going on here, guys? Something. That's how that happened. Like they didn't even know what hit them. They finally, things kind of started to look weird, but by that time it was too late.
Blinding the capital's air defenses. 2 Israeli F-35 Ayyadirs, shielded by U.S. electronic warfare, released GBU-28 bunker busters. The kinetic sequence was surgical. The first charge breached the reinforced concrete slab, while the second vaporized the interior, killing Khomeini and strategist Ali Shamkhani. This level of transparency suggests more than high-tech sensors. It screams betrayal. To bypass Faraday-caged hubs, a breach in the elite inner security likely leaked the blueprints, a sophisticated espionage operation reminiscent of the deep reach networks RAW and GDI have deployed in the past. When high-level physical access is the only way through the shield, An inside job remains the only logical conclusion.
So that's possible. And of course, with the way Mossad operates, I mean, you saw how that happened when they talked about their beepers and everything else. You saw how that happened. And they blew up the beepers. This was a long range type of affair that they did with their beepers and blowing them up there in Palestine in that area there. And so it was a long process. And so Mossad probably could have pulled some of this intelligence off without having somebody on the inside. But clearly there was a really amazingly high level of intelligence.
It has happened that more than 300 warplanes were used just to remove a single leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, from the way. But the question is, how does Tehran, the highly defended capital of Iran with strong defense systems, come under the range of this attack? Israel launches more than 200 fighter jets for the biggest aerial combat operation in its history. At the same time, the United States uses dozens of Tomahawk cruise missiles and HIMARS launchers from its warships. More than 500 military installations inside Iran are targeted. Along with Israel's 200 warplanes, the United States also brings 125 warplanes, which include F-35 and F-22 Raptor. The leadership of this attack is carried out by Israel's F-35 and America's F-22 Raptor, which first jam Iran's radar systems. This attack happened at the time when an emergency meeting was going on in the office of Iran's supreme leader. Now it is certain that at that time Mossad agents were present on the ground who confirmed that Ayatollah Ali was inside the office, and the strike was initiated. The mind-blowing thing is that in just 24 hours, the United States and Israel used more than 1,200 bombs and missiles against Iran. For the first...
all well-deserved, and Iran actually these guys didn't think they were going to do anything in the daylight, but they did. And so people are all, I don't know whether you saw the obits in the Washington Post and the New York Times and beyond, and the Democrats, of course, siding with terrorists again. I mean, there's no bad person that the Democrats and the news media will not embrace. It is amazing to me. If it's not Kilmar Abrego, it's the Ayatollah. I mean, how do you guys keep doing this? I don't understand. And it's always good because I think it's important for people like Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to explain the history here. A lot of the explanation of the history is coming from people who have fled Iran. Some of them fled in 1979 and beyond. So you have to really look at the context here. Hegseth this morning.
2 days ago, under the direction and direct orders of President Donald J. Trump, the Department of War launched Operation Epic Fury, the most lethal, most complex, and most precise aerial operation in history. For 47 long years, the expansionist and Islamist regime in Tehran has waged a savage, one-sided war against America. They didn't always declare it openly, except for their constant chants of death to America. They did it through the blood of our people. Car bombs in Beirut, rocket attacks on our ships, murders at our embassies, roadside bombs in Iraq and Afghanistan, funded and armed by Iranian Quds Force and IRGC killers. My generation of veterans carried the names of brothers who never came home. Brothers butchered by Iranian-backed roadside bombs and well-armed militias, thousands of our own. We didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it. Their war on Americans has become our retribution against their Ayatollah and his death cult. It took the 47th president, a fighter who always puts America first, to finally draw the line after 47 years of Iranian belligerence. He reminded the world, as he has time and time again, being an American means something unbreakable. If you kill Americans, if you threaten Americans anywhere on earth, we will hunt you down without apology and without hesitation, and we will kill you.
Yeah. So one of the reasons why, of course, the Democrats and others are so protective of the Ayatollah and the terrorists is because their favorite president made them rich and gave them money, billions of dollars. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. And these individuals also are going to be made to realize that when you look at the people who were blown up, I'm talking about American troops in Iraq, they were blown up with the technology created by Iran and their proxy war and Hezbollah and beyond. So when you look at the history, it will be super easy to see why it was so important to enter Sandman and exit Caveman. That's how it all works. So really, there's no debate. That's the most fun part about it, is there's no question. As long as there are no boots on the ground, that kind of thing, I think we'll be okay. And I don't think that's going to happen. I trust the person who has been right most of the time over the people who have been wrong most of the time. That's what you call common sense radio, right? The 3 Martini Lunch. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
The Democrat Party is going to have to go back toward the center.
News, analysis, and opinion.
I've never called a talk show before, but this just irked me.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, I was just recommending to somebody the other day, Schneider's True Value Hardware right there in beautiful St. Peter's, Old Town St. Peter's, and it's been there for more than 100 years. I mean, that is legacy, that is legend, and that is what it's all about with Schneider's True Value Hardware. Charlie is a great. Jerry Schneider is kind of Charlie's buddy there, and they've got a whole team of people who are really super knowledgeable, super good at helping you with whether it be one of those weekend warrior projects or whether you need some assistance with you wanting to grow some grass. I mean, all those kinds of things they can help you with. And don't forget, too, they are the dealer of the steel line of the yard equipment, yard tools, which are battery-operated, battery-charged, everything else. And these are really good. I generally have not had a great experience with the other brands of battery-operated yard tools. But the steel products are a brand-new frontier in that. And they have not only the products, but they also have the parts and the service available to you whenever you want it. And, of course, the prices are great, too. And this idea that somehow the smaller guys cost more and the bigger guys are cheaper. If you imagine the overhead of the bigger guys, then you can imagine the not-so-overhead of the smaller guys, and that's what Schneider's True Value Hardware is all about. Plus, you're also getting that kind of customer service that people have been getting for more than 100 years right there in Old Town St. Peter's. Schneider's True Value Hardware store right there on the web, truevalue.com/Schneiders, truevalue.com/Schneiders.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
When you were just a child, how many times were you told, don't touch the stove, it's hot? Or, if you don't eat all your food, kids in China go hungry. It took just one time to realize, yipes, the stove is hot. But I've yet to understand how kids in China will go hungry if I don't eat my Brussels sprouts. I ask these questions because California Governor Newsom has a new way for Democrats to win elections. He says we just need to be more culturally normal. What does that mean? Governor Newsom actually said there's no doubt that the Democrat Party needs to be, dare I say, more culturally normal, less prone to spending time on pronouns, identity politics. We need to focus on tabletop issues, things that really matter. Federalist writer Eddie Scarry says, is more normal just mean you want children to be a little less trans, a little less of a crime victim, illegals a little less illegal? Is that what he's suggesting? Can you make sense of any of this? I'm still trying to figure out how kids are starving because I'm not eating my broccoli.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
We talk about race relations.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
And I'm sick and tired of it.
101.9 and 94.1.
I find it to be a conversation starter.
News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy 3 Martini lunch. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here, happy to be with you. Common Sense Radio. You know, it's interesting, though. I guess we have to call it a war, but don't you need like two sides to have a war? Like you wouldn't say that like me and the wall have a relationship. Because the wall doesn't talk, the wall doesn't say anything to you, hug you, or have any feelings. And so basically all we're doing is we're attacking Iran. I realize they're trying to pop a few missiles up here and there, but that doesn't seem like much of a war to me. Like a war, you'd think like has people actually warring, and it looks like we're the only ones really warring. I noticed a headline said war with Iraq. It's actually war on Iraq, tell you the truth. So, you know, these guys are lucky. They're lucky we don't bring back the Crusades. But so just take what you get right there, and let's be done with it. And the fact of the matter is, these Arabic Gulf states are amazing in their cohesiveness and their togetherness on all this. And I realize they're taking some missiles too. We get it all. But this isn't really much of a war. This is mostly just a obliteration. And we have just simply blown the turbines off a bunch of cavemen, and that's how it's going to go. And then we're going to keep killing the people who are the successors to the Ayatollah. So, I think at one point they named a successor. It was the Ayatollah's son, and then about 10 minutes later, the son was killed. And now they have kind of a new interim one. And if I'm him, I'm hiding in the deepest cave I can find, but they'll still probably find you. So we'll just keep killing the people who are stepping up. Pete Hegseth told us the history, the 47-year history of Iran. And that's what this is all about. That's what Americans need to remember. And if you want to know whether or not this is really America first, because that's what you hear every once in a while by the pearl-clutching, fainting couch conservatives who are like, well, is this really America first? It's like, yeah, it is. Anything else? And I realize that, I'm really not geared towards in a situation where I want just to rebuild Iran. I don't want to do that, nor boots on the ground. But we have a vested interest, especially in our relationship with the Gulf states and beyond. We have a vested interest in turning Iran around to its pre-1979 existence. Iran had all of its wonderment taken away by the Mujahideen, by the Muj. They had it all stolen from them. And you got to listen to this one pastor. His name is David Nasser. He was on Fox News Sunday, and he fled along with his family in 1979 when he was a child. And, Iran used to be a Persian oasis. I mean, beautiful people, lots of money running around and everything else. And somehow the Muj took over. And since that time, they've just simply become nothing more than a terrorist state. And they've killed Americans. Hundreds of them, if not thousands, if you want to total up the soldiers killed in Iraq by Iran-manufactured IEDs.
Well, our next guest knows the hopes of the Iranian people well. An Iranian refugee himself, David Nasser, was 9 years old in 1979 when his family fled the violent revolution happening in Iran. They came to the U.S., where David is now an author, pastor, and speaker. David, you and your family have an amazing story. How does the news of this weekend sit with you in light of that?
Yeah, good morning, Shannon. We are waking up to the hope that this is the dawn of a new season. My family and I escaped from Iran when I was 9 years old, when the Iranian Revolution happened. My father was high-ranked in the military, and so we were forced to escape and run for our lives. And we found safe harbor as refugees under political asylum here in the United States. And in one sense, we are the American dream. This was a land of opportunity for us, but in another sense, we had another dream, and that was to see the people of Iran liberated. And just to think today that this is both overwhelming hope and terrifying and exhilarating for our people, that we might actually see the people of Iran freed is just such an incredible moment for us. And so
yeah, I mean, you saw all the celebrations everywhere, all around the country, and indeed all around the world. And John Steele, John, thank you so much, buddy, for your nice comments. But, it is interesting. There is a reporter, you asked how the local media is covering these demonstrations and things. This is in Austin, Texas. And this is a CBS reporter who was standing in front of a bunch of people with Iranian flags and American flags, and they were obviously were happy with what was going on. You're going to have to kind of listen closely, but what's happening, I'll give you a scenario here. You're standing there, he's about to go live, and he has his phone in his hand, and the folks back at the station in Austin, at the local affiliate, are texting him, telling him not to focus on the pro-American demonstration on the part of Iranians in Austin. He's telling him not to focus on it, ordering him not to focus on it. And heroically, the reporter said, "No, I am going to focus on this, and this is how it's going to go."
What does that mean? It means they don't want us to focus on this.
Yeah, they said they do not want us to focus on this, is what his cameraman is saying.
All right. Well, I am.
Yeah, he said, well, I am going to focus on it. I don't know whatever happened to him. I'll have to follow up and see what happened to him as a result of this.
Mixed opinions across Austin about the joint attack between the United States and Israel against Iran that happened early this morning. Some people, like this group behind me, are thanking Trump and the United States government for following through with this attack against Iran, while other people across the city say there needs to be more peace in the Middle East.
So he did it anyway, which was really pretty cool. I mean, and so I got to find out. I will look and see what happened after that. But let's go back to the people, mostly Democrats, the Jane Fondas of the world, the liberals, the news media. You know why they're so upset about this, right? Because Iran and the Ayatollahs were Barack Obama's buddies. Iran, in its caveman state, its prehistoric mujahideen state, they were kin to Barack Obama.
It is true that if Iran lives up to its commitments, it will gain access to roughly $56 billion of its own money.
Yeah. So they basically, and I realize this is really not giving them money, but he was releasing it. And the Hezbollah were fueled by the money. The Houthis, Hamas, and Iran's campaign to destroy Israel, its campaign of terror, were all funded by the money that Barack Obama let them have.
The notion that this will be a game changer, with all this money funneled into Iran's pernicious activities, misses the reality of Iran's current situation. Iran's leaders have raised the expectations of their people that sanctions relief will improve their lives.
That was all a lie. Khomeini was around then. You know, Khomeini was also around when he oversaw the kidnapping of Levinson back in 2008 during Barack Obama's term. The guy has since been declared dead. They accused him of being a spy or whatever. He was an American hostage. And that's why you're seeing these people having temper tantrums. That's why, well, Ilhan Omar, we know why she's having a temper tantrum, because she's a cave woman, just like the Mooch over there. She's a terrorist, just like the Mooch over there. But the Democrats and others, I mean, Adam Schiff and all these people in the news media, this is Barack Obama's little gemstone in the Middle East. That's why they're angry.
Even a repressive regime like Iran's cannot completely ignore those expectations.
Yeah, that's funny too, isn't it? Look at Pippi Longstocking here. Well, it's a repressive regime, but you know, but the people have expectations. It's like, okay, do you understand what repressive is? Repressive does not include calculations for the expectations of the oppressed. That doesn't even make any sense, you know. I mean, that's the whole definition of repression and oppression, is that it doesn't factor in negotiation with the people who are having the boot on their neck. Like you think the person who is Barack Obama's insinuating somehow, well, they're repressive, but they do have to understand the expectations of the people. It's like, what cartoon are you watching, dude? It doesn't make any sense at all, and that's how naive and crazy Barack Obama was. But I think it's more than just naivete. Barack Obama and the Democrats have always had a plan to basically undermine the United States of America, supported terror throughout the world, including the terror of the open border. And I think it's funny how, the FBI's warning about the possibility of sleeper cells. Well, thank goodness we've had the border closed for 10 years because there can't be any sleeper cells here, can there be? Oh, never mind. Yeah.
And that's why our best analysts expect the bulk of this revenue to go into spending that improves the economy and benefits the lives of the Iranian people.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Prehistoric terrorists will take the money and then start just simply repairing potholes. Gotcha. That was Barack Obama's vision at the time, and he knew that it wasn't true. He just didn't want any trouble, or actually maybe he did want trouble, but wanted to mask it in somehow. Well, we're gonna have that. Like he thinks that giving money to terrorists, the terrorists will spend their way out of misery. That he will decide to go ahead and trust that the Mujahideen will spend their way out of being terrorists, which isn't true. And Barack Obama was rewarding these guys, and that's why these people are all so angry. I mean, don't fool yourself. And there's Barack Obama, another person with whom I do not want to be on the side. So this is super easy for me, as I mentioned earlier. I don't want to be on Jane Fonda's side. I don't want to be on Ilhan Omar's side. I don't want to be on Adam Schiff's side. I don't want to be on the side of ABC News. I don't want to be on the side of traitors. I don't want to be on the side of people who hate America anyway. And I want to be on the side of people who love America and who have been right more than they have been wrong, as opposed to wrong more than they have been right. This is super easy. And it's Common Sense Radio. Hey, I'm going to switch off to McDonald's here real quickly. Jim Carafano on at 1 o'clock, but McDonald's has a new burger out, people. And if you listen to the CEO talk about it, you might not even try it. It's Common Sense Radio. Happy Monday to all of you and yours.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new app.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you that the Gemini Wealth Group is right here and ready to rock for you when it comes to your retirement and all that you need to do. So here's the thing, people, and this is really super easy and should be for you guys to determine. So I know you want to retire, right? And you're thinking, yeah, I want to retire, but I don't know whether I really want to, in this case, maybe retire. Maybe I kind of want the paycheck. Maybe I'm in a situation where, my wife is kind of saying, are you sure you're going to retire? That kind of thing. Well, here's the deal. First of all, you don't defy your wife. I get all that. What you do is you say, hey, listen, let me just talk to the guys at the Gemini Wealth Group and see what they say. And you can come with me. Let's just do that. and we'll figure it out. And then that way, what they do is they walk you through all the ways that they're going to make sure that your golden years are truly golden. That's really super important. So they'll say, because you got 5 members of this really elite team of people who have more than 100 years in portfolio experience, in investment experience, and all that kind of stuff. So you're really getting the cream of the crop here. You're getting the big leagues when it comes to your retirement. So then they're going to tell you, hey, here's what we're going to do. We're going to diversify your portfolio. And that doesn't mean just spread it out. Well, we know where to put this money. We know where to target this money. We've been doing this our whole lives, and we're going to make sure that in the end, the good chance is that you are going to be able to live off your dividends and just keep the kind of nut of what you have for 20 years until you really have to maybe hit it. Who knows? Whatever. Maybe you want to give some of it to your grandkids, whatever. Housing expenses, medical expenses, all those kind of things. And so they say, here's how we can make sure that you can live comfortably for 20, even 30 years with your portfolio. That's the promise of the Gemini Wealth Group. And what they do then is hand you your permission slip, you and your wife, your permission slips to go ahead and enjoy the rest of your lives, the golden years. The Gemini Wealth Group, strong supporters of free, common sense, conservative radio. Check it out on the web. It's thegeminiwealthgroup.com. That's thegeminiwealthgroup.com.
With all of the celebrations, anniversaries, and holidays coming up over the next few months, where are you going to go to get that special something for the special people in your life? Newsteaders Fine Jewelers, of course. Newsteaders Fine Jewelers, found 24/7 at wowdiamonds.com. Tim Jones here to tell you all about Newsteaders Fine Jewelers. Richard Newsteader and his team serving our region since 1961 with awesome, honest jewelry solutions. They've got everything from diamonds to wedding engagement rings, hand-engraved items, pendants, earrings, and so much more. You can find them 24/7, wowdiamonds.com. That's Newsteaders Fine Jewelers, wowdiamonds.com.
Join the Franklin County Republican Central Committee for the 2026 Annual Lincoln Reagan Banquet, Thursday, March 26th at 333 Vineyards in Washington, Missouri. Meet local and statewide elected officials, enjoy a catered dinner, gun raffle, silent auction, and hear from special guest Doug Billings. Help us hold on to the U.S. House and Senate in 2026. Visit fcrcc.org. That's fcrcc.org. Lincoln Reagan Banquet, March 26th at 333 Vineyards.
Don't let spring surprises ruin your comfort. Johnson Heating and Cooling in Wentzville is offering air conditioner checkups for just $99. We'll check your Freon, inspect your condensate hose, and test all electrical connections. Plus, we'll clean your system for no additional charge if you act before June 30th. Keep your home running smoothly this season. Visit johnson-heatingandcooling.com. That's johnson-heatingandcooling.com. Johnson Heating and Cooling. Your comfort, our priority.
When it comes to heating, cooling, and refrigeration, trust the family that's been keeping St. Peter's comfortable since 1974. Hey, it's Susie Moore, and DL Pranger HVAC is small enough to care, experienced enough to deliver. Got a competitor's bid? They'll beat it by 20%, guaranteed. From home HVAC to commercial refrigeration, beer caves to restaurant coolers, DL Pranger does it all. Licensed, insured, and 100% customer satisfaction guaranteed. Call 314-640-9617 or find them on Facebook. That's 314-640-9617.
Colombo and Company.
Join us every day for conversations with a wide variety of guests as we keep you informed and up to speed on all the important news and headlines you need to know.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
I got a little change in my pocket going jingle-lang-a-lang. Wants to call you on the telephone, baby. I give you a ring, but each time we talk, I get the same old thing. Always no huggy, no kissy until I get a wedding ring. My honey, my baby, don't put my love upon no shelf. She said don't give me no lines and keep your hands to yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Monday to all of you and yours. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL, the 3 Martini Lunch. Jamie Allman here and Ashlyn over there, and I also figured out Jimmy's going to join us at 1 o'clock. And one of the fascinating things about all this is that you saw all the Arab Gulf states basically cheering on the death of a bully, of the neighborhood bully. And psychologically, it must have been like, yeah, man, don't be like, how when you see the neighborhood bully finally taken out by somebody, it makes a lot of the people in the neighborhood really happy, and that's what this was all about. So that whole new frontier and that whole Arab Gulf state relationship is going to be really interesting, and I can't wait to hear what Jim Carafano has to say about it. By the way, really quickly, the Cardinals have announced that they're going to have a $29 all-you-can-eat and drink ticket. It's not going to be on opening day because what happens is it fluctuates with obviously the attraction to the game. So on opening day, it's $105 for an all-you-can-eat with brats, blah, blah, blah. You need to get 3 items per visit. But still, and then other days it'll be like $29. For the Cubs, it'll be $60. But they've introduced the all-you-can-eat thing, presumably not for the guy who just wants to be a hog all day long, but for families who wind up going to a game and it's a family of 4 and you're spending $40, maybe even $50 a piece on everybody for drink, food, whatever it happens to be, and peanuts and maybe ice cream, whatever. So it's designed really to attract families, which I think is a pretty good idea. So looking for that. At least the Cardinals are starting to think. Now if they can just win ball games, because believe me, yeah, there was a level of expense to go to the ball game, but there was also performance-related and a feeling among fans that the Cardinals were not interested in winning anymore, and that's going to have to be factoring in because, just because it's cheaper to go and watch a baseball team lose doesn't mean that people are going to do it. So that's all there is to it. All right, so this is an example of where McDonald's ought to do what it does best, which is its commercials for things. Like introduce rolling things out. Like McDonald's and whoever was doing their commercials is really good. But for whatever reason, the McDonald's CEO, Chris Kempinski, decided he was going to do a video introducing the Big Arch.
Chris K here with, you've heard about it, here it is, the Big Arch. This is something that we have tested already in Portugal, Germany, Canada. I love this product. It is.
First of all, the worst part about this is the guy calling it a product. First of all, well, second of all, I guess I should say, like for instance, Coca-Cola, people who get up to CEO status, the best ones are the ones who come from a sales or marketing background. I don't know what his background was, but clearly this guy is a bean counter and nothing more. So when you're talking about something called the Big Arch, which is supposedly just like a major league 1,000-calorie answer to the Hardee's burger that only 20-year-olds can metabolize, you're thinking that, you're going to be more excited about it. And you're not going to call it a product.
So good. I'm going to do a tasting right now, but I'm going to eat this for my lunch, just so you know. So here we go. First, holy cow. God, that is a big burger. We've got a very unique kind of sesame.
By the way, plus he's in a room, and it looks like he's in like the break room at McDonald's headquarters because it's fluorescent light, and there's like a bunch of cabinets behind him. I'm like, dude. What are you doing?
Poppy sort of bun on it. We've got 2 quarter-pound patties, a delicious Big Arch sauce, and, of course, some lettuce. So, there's so much going on with this. First of all, let's try to get this thing.
What does the, of course, some lettuce mean? I don't know what that means.
I don't even know how to attack it.
Oh, come on.
So much to it. Oh, there's also some crispy onions on here as well. I see those kind of coming out.
Oh, just seeing those, are you?
All right, the moment of truth.
God, he took like this smallest little pansy little bite. It doesn't even look like he took hardly a bite at all, like he didn't want to eat it.
That is so good.
Uh-huh.
That's a big bite for a Big Arch. It's distinctively McDonald's.
And what's funny is he showed the bite, and he didn't even get any of the burger, it looked like.
Only McDonald's could do this type of burger. but it also is unlike anything else on our menu. It's a delicious product. You know, you've got sort of the cheeses and the
Okay,
gooey.
we get it. Okay. All right, dude. Hey, leave it to your marketing team. Those guys do a good job, you know. Let Ronald McDonald talk about it. Oh, goodness. Product. You're listening to the Allman Report product here on News Talk STL. Jim Carafano straight ahead. It's Common Sense Radio. Hey, Jamie Allman here for the great Window World. You know, just over the last 20 years of Window World being in St. Louis, they've improved the look and thermal efficiency of more than 76,000 customers in St. Louis. Plus, Window World windows come with a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And now Window World is now offering 36 months, same as cash financing, with approved credit. Call them today at 314-993-1800, 314-993-1800.
When insurance companies know you're represented by under law, they know you're not going to be pushed around. So if you suffer an injury, damage to your property, serve the insurance company notice you have under law on your side. A St. Louis firm you can trust to protect you at every turn, not settle for less. You want to win? Call 314-9-MILLION. 314-9-MILLION. Under wins.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Trump says U.S. military action against Iran could last a month or longer.
2 days after authorizing epic fury, the president said combat operations against Iran will take some time.
Right from the beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks, but we have capability to go far longer than that.
Speaking at a White House Medal of Honor ceremony, he said the U.S. military will do what is necessary to meet the objectives of destroying Iran's missiles and navy and preventing that country from developing nuclear weapons and sponsoring terror. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Saudi Aramco has temporarily shut down its Ras Tanura oil refinery near Dammam after it was targeted by Iranian drones. Saudi state television reported the decision, citing what it described as an official source, adding that there were no casualties from a fire and that its decision was precautionary in nature. Authorities in Austin, Texas say that they're looking at terrorism now as possible motive in an early morning deadly multiple shooting that was carried out apparently in the name of Islam. We get more details in this report from Donna Warder.
3 people were killed, including the suspected gunman, and 14 others were wounded when Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis says a man opened fire on patrons at a popular bar in the city. She says the man in an SUV drove near Buford's Backyard Beer Garden early Sunday.
At one point, he put his flashers on, rolled down his window, and began using a pistol shooting out of his car windows, striking patrons of the bar that were on the patio and that were in front of the bar.
Audio courtesy of KVUE. Police say the gunman got out of his car with a rifle and began shooting at people who passed by. Police then confronted the man and shot and killed him. I'm Donna Warder.
More on these stories at townhall.com.
So my friends over at Pure Talk have been sending me customer feedback from consumeraffairs.com, where thousands of people rate and review the top wireless providers. Here, for instance, is a nice note from James in Raleigh, North Carolina, who writes, quote, after hearing Mike Rowe's ad, we made the switch to Pure Talk, and we couldn't be happier. We went from spending $1,200 a year with T-Mobile to $420 with Pure Talk. Thanks, Mike. Switch today! Exclamation point. Pure Talk is saving James $820 a year. And because he literally wrote the words switch today in capital letters with an exclamation point, I'm going to go ahead and dedicate this commercial to him. So folks, take it from James in Raleigh, North Carolina. Pure Talk can give you unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month on the same 5G service the big guys are overcharging you for. Just dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. You'll also save 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 to save an additional 50%. Thanks, James.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Just a yucky Monday out there. Cloudy skies, light fog, maybe a little drizzle, but not a lot of rain anticipated the rest of today. But that rain chance picks up again tonight with some showers and thunderstorms possible into Tuesday. The temperatures today in the mid-40s, overnight tonight near 40, but back to 60 degrees for the high on Tuesday. But again, we're looking for rain and storms and the possibility of a few strong or severe storms on Wednesday, especially later in the day into Wednesday night. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This year, America turns 250, and News Talk STL is celebrating our nation's semi-quincentennial all year long. News Talk STL, #1 for live and local Soros-free talk, with proud supporters of our 250th birthday celebration. Roman T. Jewelers, Luxury Driver STL, Harry J. Steakhouse, and Snooze Mattress. 250 years strong, and we're just getting started. 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michaels Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michaels has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michaels Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right, nice, soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
Want to work with a winner? Follow the multiplier. 279 times growth in total market cap in the past nearly 30 years. 50 times growth in client assets. And ranked the #1 wealth management firm for employee advisor satisfaction by J.D. Power 3 years in a row. Choose a winner. Choose Stifel, where success meets success. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE. For J.D. Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Mark Schmitz, father of Jared Schmitz, the founder of the freedom13.org.
We've met with Trump now, I think it's 6 times. Trump has been fantastic. What you see on TV is what you get in real life. I mean, we spent 6 hours at private dinner with him. It wasn't stuffy. It wasn't uncomfortable. It literally felt like you were at your Uncle Bob's backyard barbecue, but he knew information about my son.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. Live and local.
Well, here's what's on my mind. I think I got the solution to immigration.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
I love my calendar girl. Yeah, sweet calendar girl.
Well. Our friend and CNN's Harry Enton's uncle has passed away at the age of 86. And I have to tell you, I apologize in advance, I've been telling you wrongly. We love Harry Enton over there at CNN because he's always turning the faces of the anchors over there to alabaster with his facts about reality as it relates to polling. And one time, Harry Enton brought his uncle Neil Sedaka on to serenade Anderson Cooper for his birthday. But I always thought that Harry Enton was his son-in-law. I don't know why I figured that. I thought that, but anyway. Neil Sedaka, overall cool. I mean, you talk about all these people who are always tweeting and always political or whatever else. Neil Sedaka just was like, that's who I am. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Carafano of the Heritage Foundation. Jim, oftentimes, especially on days like this, reminds me of a human Amazon package that arrives, and I can't wait to open it because I can't wait to see what I ordered. And ladies and pretty bland analogy, but still, it's true.
Whoa!
I'm like, you and I, when we talk, like, well, over the weekend, we text, but I don't really know how you feel about anything that's going on or your interpretation. So everybody's really super excited to get your take on this major and historic event. How are you, my friend?
Good. So let me start by being a Debbie Downer, right? When your favorite child comes home with a report card with all A's, right? You're proud, but you're not surprised, right? And if there was a B on the report card, it would be like, what is this? What's going on here? So if there's one thing the American military can do, it is shock and awe. And we've only gotten better at that over time. My favorite one is the tweeting of hey, these Chinese stealth monitoring radars work really well. There's a stealth aircraft around immediately because it blows up the radar. So the hard part is what comes after the shock and awe. And I remember, talking about Rumsfeld and Bush and the Second Iraq War, and this is amazing. And look, we wiped their butt and everything. And that was before, 4 years of misery and loss and, missing body parts and IEDs and almost getting kicked out of the freaking country. So the hard part's ahead. Now, having said that, here's the good news. I don't think we could have been blessed with a better group of people to handle this. And honestly, I don't think the president would have jumped into this if he didn't feel like they were up to this challenge. You have, first of all, the most experienced leader in the world today, a guy who was president of the United States for 4 years, knows every leader in the world, has faced every one of these issues multiple times, and who's as rock steady, clear-eyed in what American interests are, and who is always doing the math in his head of costs and benefits. And before he pushes that button, he realizes that when he does that, somewhere there's a young American man or woman in a uniform who's going to put their life on the line for that. And he asks himself, I know he does this. Is it worth it to put that kid out there to do this? Is it really worth it? So he has a team that's had more experience in a year than some presidential leadership teams have in 4 years in dealing with foreign policy crisis. They've been in this region before. They faced this enemy before. They had the experience of what they've done in Gaza and Venezuela to kind of guide them. It's what they say about buying stock. There's no guarantee of future profit, but this is a pretty solidly run company, and they don't have a DEI office or an ESG staff. So
yeah,
they're focused on the day job.
Yeah, and to your point about Iraq, and because one of the challenging things, because my son knew it when he was over there serving in the Army and over there in 2010, one of the things that really stood out to him was the fact, and hopefully we're not at a point where we're ever gonna have boots on the ground, but when he was over there, he noticed that the Iraqis really weren't into it. They weren't really.
This is not their thing.
Yeah, this was not their thing. I said we could have lived with Saddam Hussein all day long. And like, oh, okay. So that was the hardest part, was knowing that the Iraqis were not up for this challenge. And so that's the question about Iran now, because I think it will help that some of these Arab Gulf states are actually on our side here, and hopefully that will provide some confidence for some of the Iranian people. But how does this happen without some kind of revolution? I mean, you can't just like bring back the Shah, right?
No, I don't think you can bring back the Shah. You're not going to turn it over to paramilitary organizations like the MEK. the best answer is, a managed transition. So you have a government which has control of the security forces, but recognizes that their future existence is on turning over the power in a political transition to at some point to a legitimately elected government. Now, what that looks like, there might be a lot of debate and discussion on and how that all works, but that's the best case scenario, right? You remember one of the problems in Iraq was maybe the biggest problem in Iraq, and even I was wrong on that. It was just completely disbanding the military, because then there was no security infrastructure whatsoever in place, and then we had to basically go in and do it ourselves. That was horrible. Now, we did that after World War II in both Japan and Germany, but we already had armies there. So,
Yeah, right.
It was okay. And more importantly, there was nobody to fight. Nobody is fighting us after the war in Germany or Japan. So in this situation, we don't have armies there. It would be incredibly costly and expensive to get them there. So that's not really an option. And in a country as large and diverse as Iran, that's not really practical. So absent using some of the existing security capacity to manage the transition, and you would think that not the IRGC, but by and large, the kids in the Iranian military were all drafted, and they don't have a dog in this fight, and they ought to be able to take orders from whoever gives them, and they already got guns and uniforms, and they ought to be able to provide some of that. So this is where I think the U.S. also comes in. People said, how long are we going to be there? And I said, well, we'll probably be bombing for a while. And the reason for that is threefold. One is, now that we've come down this road, Trump is not going to stop till he has flattened every single bit of nuclear infrastructure and ballistic missile production warehouse launcher to dust. So they're going to just obliterate all that. So that's going to take a while. Then if he can't find somebody that's willing to cooperate, he's going to continue to degrade the capability of these guys until the pain point is either somebody steps up and says, okay, we've had enough, or basically there's nobody left to keep the people from taking back their own government. But the third thing is I would not be surprised because there's going to be malcontents, either leftover regime elements thrown out, or maybe the MEK, who knows, or terrorists or somebody. And to prop up whoever government gets elected, we're probably going to wind up to be doing some stuff too. So I imagine we will be busy for a while in the region.
Yeah, it's so interesting too, just in terms of the more political side of it, to see Democrats acting as if they're anti-war. In any way, shape, or form, because, of course, they love their tin pot dictator Barack Obama bombing Libya. Right. Nancy Pelosi defended it and said there needed to be no congressional approval of it. So I don't know, that doesn't surprise me because of the people that the Democrats have locked arms with over the past 6 months or so. But the question is, and I think there are some people legitimately saying, okay, so I know that whatever is happening here, because I trust Donald Trump more than I do Ilhan Omar and some of these other people out there, or even Barack Obama for that matter. There are some people claiming somehow that this isn't an America First agenda. And it seems, considering what Pete Hegseth said this morning about the 47 years of murder of our American soldiers and terrorism, it certainly is.
Well, let me explain the American First agenda for the utter yahoos out there. America First was never isolationist. Now, there are isolationists in the conservative movement. There always have been, probably always will be. There are restrainers, people who want to do as little, as possible. but the guy leading the conservative movement in the United States, who happens to be president of the United States, is not one of these guys. This is not a different Trump than stood on the staircase in the Trump Hotel in front of the American people in 2016. It's the exact same Donald Trump. Because what I think people don't understand, both sometimes his fans and a lot of his critics, is Trump's metric is what is in the best interests of the United States. If it's in the best interest of the United States to send on my hands, I'm going to do that. If it's in the best interest of the United States to send a nasty letter, I'm going to do that. If it's in the best interest of the United States to bomb somebody to protect this country, I'm going to do that. And so this is America first. And so when you see these ridiculous articles in like the Rolling Stone of MAGA is coming apart because, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson and, Nick Fuentes aren't happy or something, or Steve Bannon, that is not the America First movement coming apart, because America First is putting America's interests first. This is people who disagree with their president, which that's what we're all about in the conservative movement, is having lots of people, and you want to disagree, fine, but the boss decides, and the point he's trying to make, which is perfectly valid in logic, is these guys have been at war with us since the day the Ayatollah got off the plane.
Yeah.
And it's just, we're still at war with North Korea, technically, right? The war never stopped, my friend. So, and this is, look, first of all, Trump did the biggest bit of diplomacy in human history. He pounded them into the dust. And then he said, don't do that again. And what did they do? They immediately started rebuilding that stuff with every intention of doing it again.
Yeah, of course.
And that's why we are where we're here today. If you want to blame somebody, blame the dead guy, blame the Ayatollah, who said, oh, well, we can take a beating from the Americans. We'll show them. No, that's not good.
Yeah, well,
and the way it works.
And plus, they still have a ton of that money that Barack Obama let them have in the bank, regardless of whether we bombed some of their facilities. They still had a bunch of money left to just rebuild them and do all that kind of stuff. So,
well, look, this shows you who we're dealing with. What's the difference between a bully and a psycho? When you go into the schoolyard and you punch the bully in the nose and you give him a bloody nose and you put him on his butt, he never, ever bothers you again. And then after you guys are out of college, he buys you beer.
Right.
A psycho gets up and tries to do the same thing again. So that's who we were dealing with in Iran. Not bullies, psychos.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons why I thought it was an interesting phenomenon to see the coalition of the Arab Gulf states and how they view this, and because they have a level of resentment towards Iran too, and obviously the Democrats who are standing up for the Ayatollah, that is who they are. I mean, they're like, well, we never put America first anyway, so at least we're consistent. It's like, yeah, I get it, but right? I mean, it's like we never said we were put America first. It's kind of like when the Clinton thing was going on. Well, we never said we had morals. It's like, okay, gotcha.
Exactly.
So. But the coalition of the Arab states is a really interesting offshoot of this event.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the first time, we've gotten the band together really since the first Iraq war. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
When we actually had an Arab coalition force that supported the invasion of Iraq the first time. But these guys get it. They know that this is Freddy Krueger was the nightmare of everybody in the region. It was when you went to bed at night, the nightmare that you saw was Iran stabbing you in the back. And this is your once in a lifetime opportunity to wake up from that nightmare. And, people in the Middle East may be selfish, and they may smell funny, or you might not like their camels, but you know what? They're not stupid. They know a historic opportunity when it smacks them across the brow.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing too regarding all of this. It looks like we finally. I mean, I know Spain isn't allowing us to utilize any of their places, but I know, but Britain is. So I guess in the end, in terms of how this is all ultimately going to look, I mean, and besides that, when you mentioned Iran being gigantic, I did not know they had 90 million people in Iran. I mean, that's a third of the United States right there.
And they're not even all Shia Muslims. The largest Azerbaijan population is not in Azerbaijan. There are more Azerbaijanis living in Iran than there are in Azerbaijan. I mean, it's a huge, very diverse country.
Yeah, and it seems to me, I mean, it's as you have pointed out before, you explained kind of the Persian culture, so to speak. Right. I mean, when you look at videos and appearances pre-1979, I'm like, wow, what a beautiful place Tehran was.
Right. It was the Iranian Persian the private sphere is always very separate from the public sphere. In America we have a house, and then in front you have a lawn, and you want everybody to see, who you are and what you do. In Persia, it's very different. Nobody wants you to see from the outside. Everything is internally focused, and whatever's done outside the home, inside the home, that's your business. And in private life, Iranians have always been incredibly pro-Western, incredibly more, socially liberal. I mean, this whole Iranian revolution was something that was imposed from the outside on the people of Iran. It was never their choice to do this. This is not who Persians are, and so this regime is not what they ever wanted, and none of them, except the ones with the guns and the money and the power to, threaten everybody else in the neighborhood. Those guys, they like things the way they are.
Yeah.
But the real people that actually live in the country, they never wanted this. Now, I'm not being sanguine about the Shah, and this is also the reason why the prince is never going to come back and run the country, because people have long memories. They didn't like the authoritarian thing under the Shah either, but they didn't. This was not what they wanted either. This is, they just want to live like Persians, and maybe they'll get a chance to do that.
Yeah, I know, and it's as if they all claim, well, we don't support the Ayatollah. See, yeah, you did. Barack Obama. I have the videotape of Barack Obama's speech, releasing the billions of dollars to the Iranians in the hope that this repressive regime, in his words, would acknowledge the expectations of the people. It's like, well, that's not really the definition of repression, to tell you the truth. Acknowledging the opinions of of the citizens.
Right.
So, yeah.
But,
all right.
We're not going to miss these guys. Not, much like Pol Pot, nobody runs around wearing Pol Pot T-shirts anymore.
No, yeah, right, exactly. Really, one quick question, though. I mean, I think I was watching a video earlier, and I played it for my people here. Really, the fascinating configuration of the Israeli and American setup for the demise of the Ayatollah, and just all of their jammings and all their the cyber war and everything else. I mean, I was thinking that at one point, I guess right about the time that the Ayatollah couldn't use his phone anymore, he realized that was it.
Right.
And they said there's a possibility they had somebody on the inside, but Mossad has a tendency to be able to do that regardless sometimes, right?
Yeah. We've only been doing this, Jamie, for 20-something years, whining about this dictator or that maniac or this Yahoo or that terrorist. Did you ever think in our lifetime that in 12 months, like 80% of the people in the world that we just hated and prayed, evil things happened when we went to bed at night, that they would be on their butt.
Yeah.
I never thought this was not on my dance card.
No. I mean, it's incredible, and really, honestly, the way Pete Hegseth put it today, where we just got tired of just throwing American bodies into the garbage can every time Iran wanted us to. It's not going to happen anymore. For 47 years, it's been going on.
Yeah.
And by the way, I talked to one of I know Rocky Sickman, and so he's going to be on the show. He was one of the Iranian U.S. hostages in Iran, and a buddy of mine said he talked to him once, and I didn't really talk about this because he didn't want to have any comments on this yet, and he will. But he said Ahmadinejad, the members-only jacket-wearing guy who actually was Barack Obama's buddy who took all those billions of dollars, apparently was a guard at the embassy and was one of the meanest guards in that whole facility there.
Oh,
that's
really?
how he remembered
Wow.
him. Yeah, exactly.
So there's conflicting reports, because originally they said that they killed the guy, but now they're saying that they didn't kill the guy.
No, I know. Apparently, a couple of his bodyguards died, but that was about it. So, but I still think that's still up in the air. We don't know, so we'll see. But, I just think that at some point, enough is enough. And that's what Pete Hegseth said today. He says, we just had enough of this. This is it. So, and the Iranians killed other Muslims too,
No, this is like we had enough. Well, the reason why we had enough is because we can do it, right? When you're like a parent and your kid is a Yahoo, and you can't say I've had enough, because you don't really. But now we control our own destiny here. So, this, when they write the history of this, all this starts on one day, and that's October 13th, the day that Hamas attacked Israel. Because the response to that was to crush Hamas, which actually led to the Israelis going after the Iranians, which then led to us taking out the Iranian nuclear targets. And that was the day that we figured out that, we can take these dudes. And that, if I would guarantee you, I wouldn't guarantee you, I would suspect we would not be standing here today if Hamas had not made the biggest strategic blunder in the world and attacked that Israeli concert.
Yeah. Oh, I think you're right, man. That's crazy. One quick question, then I'll let you go. I'm already seeing, like, over the weekend, gas prices went up like 30 cents a gallon around here.
Right. Yeah.
And that doesn't really seem to make any sense. I realize there's a futures market. I realize the Strait of Hormuz is traffic jammed a little bit right now. But what do you think the future as it relates to that is?
No, it'll come back down.
Yeah.
And people are already pumping, to make up for it's basically just kind of spot market stuff. And people kind of responding to the news. It's not a long-term thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think by any stretch.
All right, Jimmy Carafano, you're
That'd
the
be my
best.
guess.
Yeah, man. Well,
right,
listen,
buddy.
thank you so much. I so appreciate your generous amount of time you give us, and appreciate you, brother. We'll talk to you later on.
Right. I'm off to India, which was not as easy as I thought, since half the world's being bombed. Apparently, you're not allowed to fly over countries while they're being bombed. So, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I may have to take the Magellan route. I don't know.
It just maybe take a little longer. You're gonna have to go. You're gonna go dipping around.
I guess maybe. All
well,
right,
as long as you don't have to move like those fighter jets are moving to escape some of those rockets, man. That video's crazy. All right, buddy. Take care. All right. That is.
All right. See ya.
That is, ladies and gentlemen, Jim Carafano, the Heritage Foundation, and it's interesting. When you look at this, when you see all this and you see Democrats, there's a guy on the feed saying, we never once said we supported the Ayatollah. I go, if you voted for Barack Obama, you supported the Ayatollah, and you know damn well you did. If you were for open borders, you supported illegal alien rapists, pedophiles, and murderers. So these Democrats who constantly act like, well, we don't really support any of it. Yeah, you do. You guys are really super good at saying things without saying them because it's clear what you are. And if you voted for Barack Obama, which every Democrat did, then you did support the Ayatollah.
It's true that if Iran lives up to its commitments, it will gain access to roughly $56 billion of its own money. But the notion that this will be a game changer, with all this money funneled into Iran's pernicious activities, misses the reality of Iran's current situation.
So you if you voted for Barack Obama, you trusted the Ayatollah, you trusted Ahmadinejad, you trusted the terrorist cavemen of Iran, and there's no getting around it. There's no getting around it. And also, when you say, well, this isn't America first, you guys are never America first. And as Jim Carafano had to explain to you dunces, the reality is that America first is all about America's best interest. And if it's in our best interest, we do it. If it's not, we don't. You guys, on the other hand, supported Barack Obama, who didn't care whether or not it was in America's best interest. He cared whether or not it was in Iran's best interest, because you're hearing him talk. This isn't an AI recording. This is the man you voted for.
It is true that if Iran lives up to its commitments, it will gain access to roughly $56 billion of its own money. But the notion that this will be a game changer, with all this money funneled into Iran's pernicious activities, misses the reality of Iran's current situation. Iran's leaders have raised the expectations of their people that sanctions relief will improve their lives. Even a repressive regime like Iran's cannot completely ignore those expectations.
Yeah. Hey, Barack Obama's sitting there, standing there, talking about his trust for a repressive regime. You guys are not fooling anybody, regardless of what you're typing on your Facebook pages or whatever. Like I said, I'm not going to be on the side of Ilhan Omar and Jane Fonda. You go ahead and run with it and have your fun, but you're not fooling anybody. Listen to Neil Sedaka, people. 86 years old, lived a good life. Common Sense Radio.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
If you love your pet, which I know you do, then they deserve the excellent treatment and care they'll receive at Pacific Animal Hospital in Pacific, Missouri. A full-service veterinarian facility. Originally built and grown by my dad, Dr. Bill Jones, a new generation of wonderful veterinarians and staff at Pacific continue to provide outstanding medical, surgical, dental, boarding, and grooming services for your favorite furry friends. Our family entrusts the care of our pets only to the experienced docs and staff at Pacific Animal Hospital. You should too. Call them today, 636-257-2100, 24/7 at PacificVets.com, PacificVets.com.
Does your market have fresh-cut steaks, 8 varieties of brats and smoked meats, a large selection of Italian influence products, baked pies, breads, and desserts? Well, Valenti's Market in St. Peters does, serving the community since 1937. Valenti's Market offers catering services from box lunches to large corporate events and weddings. Stop by the deli counter for deli meats, sandwiches, and salads. Visit Valenti'sMarket.com to order online. Valenti's Market, another awesome, locally owned business supported by CUNA Food Service.
Number one for live and local conservative talk.
We're just not thinking long term.
I think the most important issue before us.
It's funny how these people who vote for him just don't seem to research the candidate.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here, happy to be with you. It's Common Sense Radio and the Three Martini Lunch people. So the thing that's really bothersome is the whole gasoline prices. Jimmy said, hey, listen, they're probably going to go down. We understand all that. They're probably going to go down again. This is just a temporary fluctuation. But the fact that it's a fluctuation at all and it is an artificial fluctuation is really bothersome from that standpoint because, you know, I mean, it literally, I was driving around by... It had to be like around noon or 1 because I was showing houses. And by that time, it was like $2.89 a gallon. So it was 20 cents more a gallon within hours of what was happening over in Iran. That is total gouging. It's totally false. And you could claim it's because of the futures market, whatever. But we all know that gasoline is in the tanks. We're squirting into our gas tanks. It's been there for a month, and you're just jacking up the price because everybody else is, and you think that we're going to go, oh, well, yeah, sure, we're in the Middle East, so, hey, of course it's going to go up. It's like it doesn't have to, and it will go back down again, but the fact of the matter is it's still lower than when the idiot was in office and the Democrats who supported him were in office. So, you know, they're crazy. It's so funny, too. I think the same guy on the thing was like, you shouldn't shop, you should support local businesses. You guys loved Amazon when Bezos was a Democrat and a liberal. So nobody's kidding anybody here. If I'm you, I'm just like, you know, stop. And by the way, how do you listen to this and still, well, I know how you listen to it and still support, you know, the Ayatollah, because Barack Obama did, and Barack Obama supported the terrorist nation of Iran. So you kind of have to support it under the guise of it being ironic that President Trump is not America first, as you point out. But I know why you can put up with it. It's the same way how you can put up with illegal alien pedophiles and rapists. Because you just pretend it's actually something else. So it's easy to understand how you can listen to Pete Hegseth and nothing even moves you. Like you're that much of a stone-hearted left-wing Trump hater and America hater that you could listen to this and still be against the actions taken against Iran.
2 days ago, under the direction and direct orders of President Donald J. Trump, the Department of War launched Operation Epic Fury, the most lethal, most complex, and most precise aerial operation in history. For 47 long years, the expansionist and Islamist regime in Tehran has waged a savage, one-sided war against America. They didn't always declare it openly, except for their constant chants of death to America. They did it through the blood of our people. Car bombs in Beirut, rocket attacks on our...
Democrat Barack Obama, who the Democrats voted for, allowed billions of dollars to be funneled to Iran, to a person and people who were chanting death to America. That is an indisputable fact. That is an indisputable fact. It's on video. And I realize you guys are the new flat earthers of our culture now, the Democrat Party is, or most of them at least. I realize you guys are the new flat earthers, but you can't refute that. Well, he didn't mean it, though. He didn't really mean it. Yeah, he knew it. He knew he was counting on the repressive regime, as he called it, to listen to the people and their concerns. That's not what a repressive regime does, and we know it. But yeah, so the country and the culture of the prehistoric Mooj cavemen chanting death to America was supported by the still worshipped Democrat President Barack Obama. That's just a matter of fact.
Our ships, murders at our embassies, roadside bombs in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. What do you say to that? Well, it's the same thing you say about the rapists, the illegal alien rapists. We say Lake and Raleigh, you're like, who? Yeah, because it's easy for you to ignore the death and destruction that you patterned your party after, and you pattern your party on supporting. So no wonder you're in this fight. Well, what? This isn't America first, like you were America first ever. I mean, come on. This doesn't meet Trump's agenda. You mean the agenda that you didn't vote for? And that you still attack? And you're still super butthurt because you lost to him? Like, how is it possible that you're questioning whether or not this is Trump's agenda when you didn't vote for it anyway? It doesn't make any sense.
Funded and armed by Iranian Quds Force and IRGC killers. My generation of veterans carried the names of brothers who never came home. Brothers butchered by Iranian-backed roadside bombs and well-armed militias, thousands of our own. We didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it.
Yeah, I mean, how do you square all of your chattering there as a left-winger in your left-wing communities with all of your signs and things like that? I know how you square it because you're consistent. At least you support Islamic jihadists, you support illegal alien rapists and murderers, and you just ignore the real people behind all of this, the real people who are affected. You ignore the Rocky Sickmans of the world. You ignore the Lieutenant Dan Reardons of the world. You ignore the soldiers killed in Iraq at the hands of Iranian-backed terrorists. So it's the same way you ignore Lake and Riley or any of the other victims of the illegal aliens. You just pretend they don't exist. And then all it is about how much you hate Donald Trump and everything else. Oddly enough, because you're mad because this isn't the America First agenda that you didn't want to have happen. You voted against. You guys, I mean, you talk about rudderlessness. It's just crazy. And how do you listen to this contributor, Maish Anil Al-Najid? She's a CBS News contributor. And she said this on CBS News.
I'm being bombarded by different emotions. And this is the moment that Iranians, my people, are experiencing different feelings, pain, and at the same time, hope, concern, and at the same time, hope. And I repeat that because that can be the beginning of a future that people of Iran have been waiting for this moment for 47 years. You know, let's just make it very clear. Now, when I talk to Iranians, for 1 second, they scream out of joy when they hear that their killers finally being the target of the U.S. government and they see justice. But at the same time, they are worried. They're concerned that if this is not going to lead regime change, that if this is not going to be the end of this regime, and if the American government, the Israeli government, only target the military leader, not the political leaders, then the people of Iran are going to be left alone on themselves by a wounded ISIS, by a wounded regime and government, and that's going to be a huge risk for my people inside Iran.
Yeah, and what she's saying is we have to continue on with this. That's what she's saying. The signs that you're all carrying or that you're putting out on your Facebook avatars and everything else that say end the war, that's not going to happen. As she points out, the elimination of the political leaders, they are terrorists. They're not military, political, whatever. They're terrorists. And I realize it's the same way you guys got all ass hurt when ICE was arresting illegal alien rapists and murderers. You had 2 of your people die defending illegal alien rapists and murderers. You despised ICE enforcing the law the same way you're despising the United States of America enforcing decency and the protection of American citizens who have been murdered by Iran for 47 years. So again, at least you're consistent. You tolerate and you bootlick some of the worst people, not only in the United States of America, but now apparently around the world. So there's no bad idea or bad person you won't embrace. And much like it is now, I call on other Democrats out there, because there are a bunch of Democrats who are also Iranian-born and were on the streets all over the country, that you ignored that too. You think every single one of those people on the streets of L.A. or Chicago or even St. Louis, for that matter, waving Iranian flags and American flags and celebrating what happened over there, you think they're all Trump supporters? No, they're not. So this is your chance. This is where the rubber meets the road for you. This is your chance to exit your death cult known as the Democrat Party, because I know a lot of you out there or Democrats are decent people. I'm related to a bunch of them. But you don't want to be attached to this death cult anymore, and the response to what happened over the weekend is just simply proof that it's never going to end. There's no bad idea or bad person, terrorist or criminal, that the party and the people on the left and its adjacent media will not embrace. I mean, golly. Trying to help you here. I have other things to do, you know what I'm saying? But I'm taking time out to give you some advice. I'm a decent-hearted person. I empathize. I sympathize. I want to free you from the prison. See how that works? Hey, it's Common Sense Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, the 3 Martini Lunch.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever I'm at, home, car, wherever.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Just a convenience on the phone. Streaming live on the mobile app.
Love the new app.
And listen anytime,
Everywhere.
anywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, Noel Buckingham, great guy, fun guy, and he's also one of the leaders in the pest control industry because he's always thinking. And guess what he just recently thought about? He thought about, you know what, I'm going to introduce this new product to St. Louis, and this is going to be fantastic. And here's what the product's going to be. How about some pest control insulation? Yeah. Have you thought about that before? Of course not. But Noel Buckingham has. It's called tap insulation. And when he found out about it, he said, I got to bring this to St. Louis. I got to introduce to my St. Louis people because it is groundbreaking as a proprietary blend of pest control items within the insulation, people. So here's how it all rolls out. TAP, tap insulation. T for being thermally superior, A for being acoustically superior, and P for that pest control element there. On top of that, you go ahead and put it in your crib. I'm telling you, Spire's going to give you a rebate on it, and you are also putting a pest control element in the place that you probably need it most because pests love to kind of enter into homes through the attic. There's plenty of places up there, especially the vents in the house and those kinds of things. And they start right there in the attic and begin to kind of rain down on the rest of your house. Don't tolerate it anymore. Get the TAP pest control insulation from my friend Noel Buckingham and his team at Buckingham Pest Control, BuckinghamPestControl.com. And, of course, this is not only a price performer, but you're going to get a rebate from Spire. On top of that, as you are planning your summertime, your springtime, and you are planning to hopefully not buy a bunch of off and instead go ahead and get your home sprayed or taken care of with the mosquito eradication program that Knoll has, and you won't have to worry about it for months. That's all you have to do. BuckinghamPestControl.com. That's BuckinghamPestControl.com.
Yo, this is Vic. Vic for Vets is proudly honoring our veterans. Every Wednesday at 11:05, you'll hear about that day's honoree and their incredible service to our country.
Hi, it's Ken. You want to nominate a veteran? Send their name, service information, and story to me, Ken, at newstalkstl.com.
Brought to you by Heroes Care, Alamo Military Collectibles, Gemini Wealth Group, Michael's Funeral Home, and Freddie's Market.
Together, let's celebrate the heroes in our community. Vic for Vets, where honor meets gratitude.
A celebration 100 years in the making. The National Route 66 Centennial Kickoff Celebration, presented by Vital Farms. Thursday, April 30th through Sunday, May 3rd in Springfield. The celebration kicks off with musical guests featuring Little Big Town, Chris Jansen, Gary LaVox, Gretchen Wilson, the Ozark Mountain Daredevils, and the Haygoods. Events continue through the weekend. You are invited to celebrate Route 66 with us April 30th. Tickets and information on Route66Kickoff.com. Brought to you by the Missouri Route 66 Centennial Commission.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros and Exteriors, your all-in-one service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. Christine and I discovered Gutter Pros and Exteriors when we bought our home and inherited a gutter problem. And they've also repaired siding damage on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros team are also the best for repairing other exterior damage, including fascia, soffit, and all siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros and Exteriors can help your home or business right now at gutterpros.com.
Colombo and Company.
Join us every day for conversations with a wide variety of guests as we keep you informed and up to speed on all the important news and headlines you need to know.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on Newstalk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone, and just in case you're not buying what I'm selling in terms of the Democrats embracing really terrible people, this is Adam Schiff. You support Adam Schiff, then you support his commentary here, and he wishes the Ayatollah was still alive. He said that on ABC.
The Ayatollah Khamenei led a regime that brutalized its own people, launched attacks around the world for almost 40 years. So is the president right to take him out?
No. How is that going to work out for the Democrat Party when you're asked whether it was okay supporting taking out the Ayatollah? And it's like, it's kind of like when, like, do you think we should be arresting criminal, illegal alien robbers and rapists? There's never a straight answer from Democrats on that. It's usually just F ICE, right? Because that's what that's really what this all is. You commingle the so-called, strawberry picker with the illegal alien rapist. You never divide them in any commentary of yours. And just in case, too, the whole thing, well, what about congressional approval? Well, I'll just ask Nancy Pelosi.
So, Madam Speaker, Madam Leader, you're saying that the president did not need authorization initially and still does not need any authorization from Congress on Libya?
Yes.
I mean, come on. you guys are the same ones who were just like 13 people died at Abbey Gate in Afghanistan. You're like, well, ho-hum, whatever. Not even remotely interested in any kind of investigation regarding Joe Biden and what was going on there. So the idea that you guys are some kind of like, geopolitical sleuths and great minds is crazy. And by the way, the NATO General Secretary, Mark Rutte, said, I completely support the president.
I will say that my thoughts are with the service members, the U.S. service members who made the ultimate sacrifice over the last couple of days. And let me also say that the commander-in-chief, the leader of the free world, President Donald J. Trump, I really commend what is happening here.
That's from the NATO guy. Aren't the left the ones who are like, what about NATO? President Trump's offending NATO. President Trump isn't protecting. It's like NATO. There's some of the toughest nuts to crack oftentimes when it comes to President Trump and the United States of America. So there they are. So once again, I'm trying to help you because you're running down the wrong path. You're holding hands with people that most normal people don't agree with or don't support. It's like I'm trying to save you. Don't have a margarita with the Ayatollahs, you know?
Say, everyone's talking about chicken.
Clean up.
Chicken's a popular word.
All right, you guys have a great rest of your day. Ashlyn, thank you so much for everything. You guys, thank you for listening to the show. And coming up next, it's Tony Colombo and Company here on News Talk STL.
But let him call it this and let him call it that. A chicken ain't nothing.
Is diabetes keeping you from enjoying life's special moments? At U.S. Med, we understand the challenges you face, and we're here to help.
With U.S. Med, I can finally manage my diabetes without it managing me.
U.S. Med offers a wide range of services to simplify your diabetes care. Personalized care plans,